Today's Torah portion number 47. See. Starts in Deuteronomy 11:26. Gonna read in the King James Version. And it says, Behold, or see, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day. And a curse if you will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which you have not known. Now it reads, Behold, I set before you this day. This is still powerful today. Today, Yah is saying to us, see, behold, from the past, what will happen today, this day. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 8 and 15. Harden not your heart, as in the provocation in the day of temptation, in the wilderness. We are led by the Spirit of the Lord out of the curse of sin and death, and blessed, made partakers of the household of faith. Galatians 6 and 10. We have the ability to choose what we will walk in. We have the ability to control how we respond and act towards those choices that we face in our lives. See? Verse 29. It says, And it shall come to pass, when the Lord thy God has brought thee in unto the land whither thou goest to possess, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim and the curse upon Mount Ebal. Now, after the battle of Jericho and Ai in Joshua led the people to Mount Gerizim and Ebal and followed the Torah written down when Moses led. Joshua gathered the congregation, put them in two groups, one half on Mount Gerizim and the other on Mount Ebal. And the Levite read the Torah, and they made an altar. They sacrificed a peace offering and put the commandments of Yah on the rocks of the altar. They saw with their own eyes what God has set before them, blessing and curse. Today, Mount Gerizim is a very healthy and green land, and Ebal is a dry land. Today, this day, we can see with our own eyes in nature the effects of Yah's Torah and see the effects of Yah's Torah in our lives. That reference was in Joshua chapter 8. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 12. In the wilderness, the congregation had the tabernacle, and they were together. But now Yah is setting places that his name lives, meaning he's setting places for worship, where people can go and bring tithes and offerings, where they are accountable and have joy there. The congregation is spread out throughout the promised land, and Yah wants his people to worship where there is Torah. So not to learn idolatry and slip away from him. Yah loves us. See? chapter 12, verse 19. It says, "Take heed to thyself that thou forsake not the Levites, as long as thou livest upon the earth." In verse 19, it tells us it's our responsibility to help the Levites. And the one that teaches Torah by tithes and offerings. And as long as we live on this earth, the Levites were those that were looking out for the people's spiritual good. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 13, "Do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple? And they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar. Even so has the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel." It's our responsibility to honor and respect those who teach Torah, and only Torah. See, there is a man named Mike Clayton. He is a Hebrew roots teacher. He teaches on discerning of what people may speak into your life. He speaks on the difference between talent, charisma, and anointing. There are so many folks following people because they are very talented or charismatic. They have a charismatic personality, or they feel some sort of an anointing that person may have. But when you look at 1 John chapter 4, verse 1 through 6, because many false teachers and false prophets are gone out in our world, and they are at work in our churches, discernment is needed. Pray to Yah for eyes to see and ears to hear. In Psalms 119 through 122, King David was in desperation, and he was just reminding Yah about all his promises. And I believe those who are in desperation, like King David, in this psalm, will remind Yah of his word. We know that Yah doesn't need to be reminded of his word. But sometimes, especially in times of desperation, it's only natural for us to want Yah's undivided attention. So we hang the promises up in front of him. In this psalm, King David was in trouble all the time. His life was in despair, and people around him did not know Yah, and he lived in caves. And it was sure that King David sometimes couldn't even see straight, couldn't see Yah. Yah was there all the time, but because he was so overwhelmed with trouble, he couldn't see Yah, who was there with him all the time. In our darkest hour, Yah gives us strength to see through those things. Be of good courage and trust Yah. He is faithful and true. And believe that he is going to finish the work he started in us. King David read the Torah to ease his mind and heart and soul. And in Isaiah 54, Starting with verse 11, I'm going to read in the Complete Jewish Bible. It says, I will set your stones in the finest way, lay your foundation with sapphire, make your windows shine with rubies, your gates with garnets, your walls with gemstones. All your children will be taught by Adonai. Your children will have great peace. In righteousness you will be established, far from oppression, with nothing to fear, far from ruin. For it will not come near you. Any alliance that forms against you will not be my doing. Whoever tries to form such an alliance will fall because of you. It is I who created the craftsman and who blows on the coals and forges weapons suited to their purpose. I also created the destroyer to work havoc. No weapon made will prevail against you. In court, you will refute every accusation. The servant of Adonai inherits all this. The rewards for their righteousness is from me, says Adonai. Chapter 55. All you who are thirsty, come to the water. You without money can buy and eat. Yes, come, buy wine and milk without money. It's free. Why spend your money for what isn't food, your wages for what doesn't satisfy? Listen carefully to me, and you will see. You will eat well. You will enjoy the fat of the land. Open your ears and come to me. Listen well, and you will live. I will make an everlasting covenant with you. The grace I assured David, I have given him as a witness to the people, a leader and lawgiver for the people. You will summon a nation you do not know, and a nation that doesn't know you will run to you. For the sake of Adonai your God, the Holy One of Israel, who will glorify you. The Torah is our comfort, our healing, our strength. It is our hiding place and our dwelling place too. The Torah gives us sight the world can't see. The Torah is our past, present, and future. With Torah we can see, we can behold Yah.